Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Recovery Efforts for Small and Mid-Sized Businesses, brought to you by Barbara Griffith, President of SCL Equipment Finance, a division of Southern California Leasing, Incorporated. Assisting Barbara is Crystal Harrison, their Vice President of Business Development. My name is Haley Bartley, and I'm the Member Program Specialist here at IFAI, and I will be moderating today's session. This webinar is being held to inform the industry on different recovery efforts that are taking place. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions to Barbara and Crystal by typing your questions into the questions box on the control panel on the right. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation, and we will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. With this, I would now like to introduce today's speaker, Barbara Griffith.
Thank you, Haley. It's a pleasure to be able to present this webinar. Many of our clients have called and asked about the SBA programs, the relief programs, and most importantly, what should they do if they have to be late on a payment? So we're going to cover some of these things today. The topics of discussion will be what businesses need to know, how much recovery funding is available for small businesses, what about the SBA 7A program and the Impact Act of 2020, meaning less documentation and streamlining of applications. What about payroll, vendor payments, working capital? Do you have the working capital to provide payroll? Do you have the working capital for your vendor payments and the working capital just in general to run the company? So these are topics of discussion. So we're going to go through financing programs available. And when this webinar is over, Haley is going to send to you the same PowerPoint, but next to it will be a link. And those links will be very important for you so that you can go directly to the areas in which we are speaking about. So, for example, traditional SBA links. There'll be a link for the traditional SBA program. And what is the traditional SBA program? That would be anyone that doesn't qualify for the Economic Injury Disaster Program. There is an express program. That traditional SBA program goes from $30,000 to $350,000, and it is an express program. SBA has done a very, very good job in facilitating applications and moving them through. They say it takes anywhere from 7 to 30 days to apply. So it is helpful if you're going to look at an SBA program to start an application. The second SBA program, which is what you hear on the news and all the different things that our government is talking about, is the Economic Injury Disaster SBA program. Put a little parentheses there just to say if eligible. Not every company will be eligible, but it is most likely not up to you to decide that. There are questionnaires you can answer, there are places to call, and you can still submit an application. And if you don't get qualified, you can apply to the traditional SBA program. So when Haley sends the PowerPoint to you, you're going to have a link that will give you the link to apply for the disaster assistance. That link has to be applied directly to SBA. So that link will go right into their system. We want to talk about, oh, and also let me just back up a little bit. The disaster relief program is $10,000 to $2 million. It's amortized over 30 years. It has an interest rate of 3.75. They are providing no payments for 12 months. It is nationwide, so every state in the U.S. qualifies. It takes anywhere from 2 to 30 days for approval. So that is why I'm recommending that you get your application in. If you are considering an SBA program, it's not going to hurt you to apply to both. It's sort of going to be like a get in line. And the people who are in line first is going to get the loans first, and there's going to be a long line. So if you think you're going to need to get relief from SBA, the programs are up and running and they're working well. The forgiveness loans, you've heard about that on the news. I don't know if that part is under the disaster assistance. I don't believe it's been approved yet. It's on the table, meaning that if you take a loan and you do not lay off any employees, they will forgive the loan. So I believe that that's going to fall under the disaster assistance program. All right? Let's move down to available types of financing. These are financing, working capital that you can find within your own company. So you may not have to look outside for an SBA program. You might be able to uncover some revenues within your own organization. I heard of a restaurant in New York who took a $50,000 working capital from his line of credit for his home, and he's keeping all of his employees paid, although he's shut down. And I'm going to believe that he's going to qualify for that payroll assistance program. And how that program actually does work is that you'll have a credit at the end of the year on your tax return. So if you're finding revenues to keep your company afloat, there are going to be programs to help you do that. Factoring is one of those programs. If you have a purchase order, let's say with Costco or Trader Joe's or Walmart, you can sell that purchase order. AR financing, this is a big one. If you have shipped tents to Costco, Christmas decorations, any type of product that they have given you, they owe you money, but they're not going to pay you the money maybe until August. Let's say it's worth $750,000. That could bring in a lot of capital right now. You would sell that receivables and bring in that cash now. So you're really not going through the SBA program and all of the paperwork that I assume is still going to take place with that process. Working capital. Where are you going to find working capital? I explained earlier about the restaurant where he took a second out on his house or used his line of credit. Working capital could be a line of credit with your bank. This is a good time for you to go to your bank and start having a conversation. If you haven't tapped into any of those working capital lines, you should. I would personally do it just to see if they work. Also, equipment loans. We are seeing that companies are still financing equipment, and they're not going to pull the working capital out of their business so that they can purchase a piece of equipment. Remember one thing, what the economists are saying. that this is a 2-month hiccup in our economy, and that between, well, if you hear the news today, 14 days to 2 months, we are going to start going back to work, and our businesses are going to start manufacturing again. So 2 months, okay? Some will get hit harder, like restaurants, but it's a 2-month, and then we will start to recover. Well, 14 days to 2 months. So if you find yourself needing equipment, upgrading technology, computers, you might want to look at an equipment finance program and talk with your vendors who sell you the equipment if they have a solid company that they can refer you to. All right? So to recap that, factoring, meaning purchase orders, AR financing, which means anything where people owe you money, working capital, can you tap into some of the working capital, and equipment loans. Conserve your working capital. Additional resources and information. Again, when you get the PowerPoint, you will be able to see the different links, and we're going to go over those right now. Facebook is offering $100 million in cash grants. So there'll be a link for you to go in and see what that's all about and if it works for you. VA Business Resource. I like this a lot. There'll be a link for if you are a veteran-owned company, VA is there for you. And they will help you navigate to what you may need to keep your business afloat. So please, thank you for serving our country and use the resources that VA has offered you. They've really come to the table on their programs. SBA payment deferment. Another link that will be provided to you. But this is for anyone who has an SBA program now, and you need to defer your payment. You will click on that deferment program, start a conversation about deferring your SBA loans. They're going to be very friendly about that. The last two are just things that I thought a business should have. One would be the guidance on how to prepare the workplace. Now you can click on that link, and it's a very easy read about what you should be doing with your employees, for your company, and some really strong guidelines. If you feel you need to pass out some paperwork to your employees about what you're doing to protect them, there's some information in there about that. So it's just an easy guide I found, and we're passing it back over to you. The last one, which is search for free and reduced cost services, really has not much to do on our webinar today about resources for you as a business. But these are resources that you can hand to your church. If you click on that link, it's connect.org, which you have, you can give that to your church. You can give it to your friends, your employees. What you'll do is you'll put your zip code in, and it will tell you where all the food banks are, if you can't pay your rent, and give you resources locally within your area. I really, really like that website. I think if you belong to a church, send it over to your church and let them know about it, because that's going to be able to access help to those who need it right away. Okay? So, how we doing out there, guys? Here's another SBA So we talked earlier about all the different SBA programs. I found this website. I liked it a lot. I tested it out myself. You go into this website. You'll have, again, another link when you get the PowerPoint from Haley. And you will click in your zip code, as I have done here. And up will pop all of your SBA offices near you. Now, I gave it a trial run because I wouldn't want to give you information that didn't work. And I called the different SBA offices in my area, and they answered the phone. So it was very helpful, and I just started asking them questions about the relief programs, and they were able to answer. Then they proceeded to give me an 800 number that will also be on the PowerPoint that you received from Haley. And I called the 800 number, and a live person answered within the first 3 rings. And I asked them about the relief program, and then I said, well, what if my office was in Kentucky? Would you then be able to help me? They said, well, we would give you your 800 number for the area in which you're in if it doesn't have anything to do with the relief. So I thought that was really great. I'm very proud of SBA. They're coming to the plate, and they're trying to make it as easy as possible. So now we want to talk about what is the outlook. So I want to stay positive because I do know that we're going to get through this. Listen, we're an equipment finance company, so we work with businesses all over the United States, and we hear their pain. Unlike 2008, this is a recovery that will happen. And from what you can hear on the news, it's kind of happening right now. So with that being said, let's talk about that so that you can uncover some opportunities. U.S. businesses will bring back our domestic products. I firmly believe that. Let's think about something. 100% of our aspirin is made in China. 100% of our penicillin is made in China. Most of our viral medicines are made in China. Americans are strong, and we are bringing it back home. Advanced manufacturing will be the key to speed. What does that mean? That means that this will be a long term. I'm thinking like 10 years because, in other countries, 20 years is long term, but here in the United States, we like to get things done now, and I think our long-term goal will be about 10 years. But let me walk you through something real quickly. I'm going to have you guys all kind of think about this. It's a fictitious company, but let's visualize it. It's a large building with a lot of robotic and automation. It works 24 hours, 7 days a week with few staff members and employees. And it produces a whole lot of toilet paper. I know you're laughing a little bit, but we do have to bring that home, and it's easy to do. Now, here's another thing I want to tell you. 18 years ago, our GDP, China had 10% of our GDP, 18 years ago, okay? The last 18 years, we are now at, they have 92% of our GDP, okay? How did we get there? We all kind of shake our head and go, oh my goodness. But if you really take it into perspective, 18 years ago, we didn't have the automation that we had today. We didn't have the robotic and all the equipment that we could have made that fictitious business I just told you about that made toilet paper, right? We didn't have those robots that could really do that. But now we do. So if you can understand how advanced manufacturing is going to be the key to speed and how we can start bringing back our goods and making it here and competing worldwide, because if you can get automation to work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I find that to be phenomenal. So that's how it's coming back, okay? So the supply chain is increasing. We see it today. I know IFAI and a lot of their members have found many, many opportunities. I just got a LinkedIn from Autometrics, who has I believe, a potato pouch manufacturer now making face masks. Okay, that's great, right? They weren't making face masks before, but now they are. So that's phenomenal. Let's talk about the supply chain that is increasing. Ford and all of our car manufacturers are getting into ventilators. Okay, we have a client here in-house that makes hand lotion, and now just signed a large contract to make hand sanitation lotion. Okay, so automation and technology to run your company. Automation and technology to run your company. Okay, so now we have this idea that we've uncovered some of the rocks and we found some opportunities, right? So I want you guys to keep your head in the game, focus. You have some time to spend with your family now. You have some time to think about things. It's kind of a regroup, a reboot, but reboot with looking for opportunities. They are there, I promise you. So as you're sitting there thinking about opportunities, start thinking about the vendors who sell the equipment. Have a conversation. Have a dream conversation. I know that IFAI has a wonderful equipment dealer portal. You can go into their website and find a dealer that sells equipment, the type of equipment you might be looking for. Give them a call and talk about what it would look like for you to get to point A to point Z. They are going to be your best reference and help you out so that you can go back and make whatever you're doing now and bring on another entity to the business. If I were a restaurant right now, which we know that that particular segment is going to get hurt hard, if I were an Italian restaurant, I would make Italian dressing and I would sell that Italian dressing. I once ran into Marie Callender's, the gentleman that owned Marie Callender's, walking down the beach one day with my golden retriever. And this old man stopped to pet my golden, and he wanted me to know that he was Mr. Marie Callender's. And he chatted with me for about 20 minutes, and I just listened because I knew it was an opportunity, and I just listened. And I asked him, I said, well, how much did you know about making pies? And he said, I didn't know anything about making pies. I just had a good idea, and I was a dishwasher in a coffee shop, and I was seeing that they made a lot of pies. So I decided, I went home and talked to my wife, Marie, and I asked her, let's open a coffee shop and sell pies. And so we got some recipes from our employees. We started developing pies. And then he went on to say that he didn't make his money off of his restaurants. He made all of his money off of his frozen foods. He was a very interesting man, and I had a really nice opportunity about how he diversified his company. So please think about that. How to keep your credit in good standing while we recover? Stay conservative. That's something that I think our grandparents did, right? My mother-in-law was born in 1918, and she's still alive. She's 101, and she's always been conservative how she spends her money. She's still doing very well, by the way. If I gave her a car, she'd probably get in it and drive around the block. But she's conservative. Let's go back to that. Let's stay conservative. When you're having those conversations with your vendors about how to get from point A to point Z, you have to stay conservative, right? You don't want to overinvest, and you don't want to underinvest either. You want to look at the long-term trend. And then you have to manage your cash flow. Cash is king, and you need to have cash. Remember, in today's real time, we're looking at 2 months. That's what the economists are saying. So if you had 2 months of working capital, you wouldn't have to go look for an SBA loan. You could stay afloat. One of the other areas that I want to talk to you about is, what if you are delayed on your payments? It's okay. You can call any of your creditors. They're all prepared to hear from you. Your credit card, your landlord, your equipment leases. If you owe money, I want you to be able to sleep at night, because you need to run your companies. You need to know that your creditors are going to be there for you. It's really something that they also talk about on the news. So have a plan. If you're going to make a call to a creditor that you cannot make payment, or you want to get a deferred payment, you can't call up and say, "Hi, Mr. Creditor, can I get a deferred payment?" That's just going to be hard for them to recognize that conversation. But if you change that conversation around to, "Hi, Mr. Creditor, I need a deferred payment because I have a plan. By July 15th, my company should be up and running, and we have added a new segment of our company where now we are going to be making face masks." Have a plan. Create the small, mini, very basic business plan. Don't be too analytical about it, because it is something that we're navigating territories that we've never navigated before. But inside your mind, start working out a plan. And the moment that you think you know everything is the moment that you'll figure out it just didn't really work out exactly the way you figured, but it worked out. And allow for that, okay? So have a plan and exercise that plan. I used to say, when I would give workshops to new businesses starting up, I would always say the song, "Row, row, row your boat." Row, row, row your boat gently. So if you get into a rowboat and you don't know how to row the boat, you're going to go in circles. But if you get into a rowboat and you know how to move the oars, you will go into a direction, correct? That's no different than your business plan. Get into the boat and row. And then you will end up in places that you've not seen before, and that will be a good thing. So call your creditors, tell them you need to delay the payments, and have a mini business plan for that. All right? So I'm going to turn it over now to Crystal Harrison, who actually is the one that is very involved in your membership and has brought the industrial fabrics to our company and has funded millions and millions of dollars in your industry. So Crystal, please take over.
Thank you, Barbara. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. Before we close up, I just wanted to mention the current climate of your industry. Really what we're seeing right now, and I've referred to IFAI as well to discuss this with you today, but really what's happening, as you're seeing as well, is industries are really pivoting and they're entering into new spaces, new territory of manufacturing. Barbara gave some really great examples, one being a hand lotion company that's now making hand sanitizer. And one of our own IFAI members, Autometrics, they are their client or their customer, Austin's Couch Potatoes, has actually turned their entire upholstery factory into a face mask factory. So things are really changing. We're really seeing the medical arena, that area really stepping up right now of your industry. Just doing everything they can. The tent awning and canvas manufacturing as well, making tents for the healthcare, organizations and workers. And your own organizations are becoming involved, and they're really stepping up, as IFAI is, working with the NCTO and INDA to increase supplies, everything that's needed right now. And I'm sure everybody saw that survey that went out recently, to help get you guys more involved and to really help out the current state. There's also an IFAI resource center, and I'm not sure if everybody's aware of that, but please, check that out. The link will be in the handout that we get you guys, so you'll see that as well. There's a ton of really incredible information on there, and I check that frequently. But overall, the U.S. or domestic manufacturing is in high demand. That's really what we're seeing for the future as well. And as Barbara's mentioned, speed is essential at this time. We have to go fast, so we're going to see advanced technology in software and equipment. This is all extremely needed very badly right now. So we're going to see that increase, and robotics and manufacturing increasing with technology. And
Well,
I think that is at the end of our presentation.
Well, we're going to have, allow for questions, but I do want to just say that one of IFAI's and SCL Equipment Finance top priorities right now is to inform our customers and members. That is our top priority. We spent all last week calling our clients, and we're spending this week calling our clients to let them know that if they have a hiccup with their payments, that let's help them out. So it's top priority for us. If you have questions, you can always reach out to IFAI, reach out to ourselves, and we'll try to navigate you through this.
Thank you so much, Barbara and Crystal. Like I said, we can take questions now at any time. We did get a couple questions during the webinar, so I will ask those. How is the Economic Injury Disaster SBA loan program different from what just got approved in the $2 trillion stimulus package, which I understand will run through SBA as well?
That program is the same program that you will have if you're going to apply for the disaster assistance. That is the program. So when you see that link, it will say apply direct, and you will apply there, and that's what they've been working on. And now that it's approved, there's going to be some more things inside there that will help you. The 10,000 to 2 million, the amortization for 30 years, the 3.75, the no payments for 12 months, and supposedly it's supposed to take 2 to 30 days for approval. Now, one thing I don't know and I haven't heard is that forgiveness loan involved in that particular program that you just talked about. So you can ask one of the SBA members.
Tony, who asked the question, said that website is currently down for maintenance.
Well, I
visited it this
just
morning.
Tested it out 5 minutes ago for the link that we are going to supply to them, and it was working for me. So maybe the website in which you're looking at, because I know that we've done a lot of research, and so is IFAI with links. And so we're hoping that the links that we provide you are good links. Okay, so
I'm And we just tested it this morning, that particular one, so we should be you'll have the correct link.
And then again, you can always go to the 800 number. So this handout that you're going to get is going to have some valuable information. You can always pick up the phone and call them. I tested all these out myself. So hopefully, you know, it is going to be pent-up demand. We know that for sure for this product. So just keep trying if that's the case. But I think it's going to be, you're going to be surprised once you find the right areas in which to go into.
Okay, we can follow up with that after.
You know what? I just checked it out, and you're right. You are right. For some reason, the portal is undergoing maintenance, but I'm sure it'll be up soon. That's actually, we've been checking it every day, and this is the first time we've seen this, so I'm sure that'll be back up soon.
Then if that's the case, I would not stop or delay. I would go to that second, which is find your nearest SBA office. And that would be on the PowerPoint, where you can just put your zip code in, and up will pop your nearest SBA office. And maybe if you have time, well, I don't think they're going to, I don't know if they're open, but somebody does answer that, your nearest SBA office. So you don't just have to go online, call your nearest SBA office. And then there's also an 800 number there. So you just keep working that particular information.
Right. And
okay.
The stimulus packet, or the stimulus program, just was announced this morning. So that is supposed to be $350 billion for small businesses. So I'm guessing that they're probably trying to get that organized right now and figure that out. So just keep checking back.
Can we repeat the 800 number?
Sure. That 800 number is 800-616-7232. Now, they will help you if you're looking at the disaster program, and if you are in another area outside of their area here, you can ask them for an 800 number wherever you're located, and they should be able to supply that to you.
Great. We have another question. It is, if I don't want to deal with the arduous SBA loan and I'm not laying off employees, did I understand you to say I will be able to get some sort of credit on my corporate taxes next year?
So they have that payroll tax, and we just want to make sure that we verify that. I'm almost certain it's active now. And so what they're suggesting, and the way I understand it, is if, well, your work, I'm sorry, read that question. Are they still working and producing an income?
Yeah, they don't want to go through the arduous SBA loan and not laying off any employees. Will they still be able to get some sort of credit?
I don't believe so. Just like our company here, we've deployed several people to their home offices, and we have a couple people in-house now, and we have one or two who comes and goes at different times of the day for, like, our CFO. But we're still operating, even though we don't see the income coming in as we did, we're still not going to be taking advantage because we didn't lay anybody off. Although, let's just say that I did lay off somebody. I'll just use myself as an example. This is say that I did lay off somebody. Maybe it was a marketing person who I feel right now we just don't need marketing. And so that position is going to be on hold. But if I continue to pay her or him, then that would qualify under the tax credit at the end of the year. She was laid off. She didn't have to go, or he did not have to go to unemployment. I kept them employed within my organization, but they didn't work. They were laid off, but they didn't collect unemployment. That is how I am reading the payroll tax credit. So keep in mind, all of this has been extremely confusing, but that is how I'm reading it. So that company who asked that question, if they have an employee that they had to lay off because that job is no longer available due to this crisis, then they should be able to use the payroll tax credit. Now, your best bet on that is to call your CPA. They will know best because remember, they're the ones that's going to be able to prepare the tax write-off at the end of the year. Okay.
Great. I think that's all for questions for now, unless anyone has any others. But yeah, like Barbara said, you guys can reach out to myself or Barbara at any time, and we can try to connect you with the right information and people. Thanks again, Barbara and Crystal. It was a great presentation.
Thank you, and God bless you all.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.